Book review: Infinity Alchemist, Book 1 by Kacen Callender. The truth can be dangerous, but it's also power, and power, when wielded with intention, can change everything. Introduction. Kacen Callender's Infinity Alchemist marks an exhilarating and emotional entry into the young adult fantasy landscape. Known for powerful works like Felix, Ever After, and King, and The Dragonflies, Callender brings the same intensity, emotional depth, and social insight to this magical new series. With Infinity Alchemist, they have crafted richly imaginative world brimming with philosophical intrigue, marginalized voices, and complex relationships. This is not traditional fantasy narrative. It is revolutionary in its scope and bold in its storytelling choices, effortlessly weaving themes of social injustice, identity, and institutional power into plot fueled by magic, rebellion, and love. With trans, queer, and polyamorous characters of color front and center, Callender continues to expand the boundaries of what fantasy can and should encompass. Plot summary. In Infinity Alchemist, Kacen Callender crafts vivid, boundary-pushing young adult fantasy that pulses with magic, danger, identity, and the deep yearning to belong. The novel follows Ashwood's determined teen whose passion for alchemy places him at odds with rigid, classist society that restricts magical education to an elite few. Denied entrance to the prestigious Lancaster College of Alchemic Science due to his background and status, Ash, forced to take position as groundskeeper at the very institution that rejected him, yet Ash refuses to let go of his dream. Secretly studying alchemy on his own, Ash treads perilous path. In New Anglia, unauthorized practice of alchemy is not only forbidden but criminal. Discovery could lead to imprisonment, or worse. When the sharp-witted and ambitious apprentice Ramsay Thorne uncovers Ash's secret, Ash expects the worst. But Ramsay doesn't turn him in. Instead, she proposes risky alliance, help her find the legendary Book of Source, and she'll keep his secret safe. The Book of Source is no ordinary text. It's mythical artifact of immeasurable power, said to grant control over the very essence of alchemy. Its discovery would not only change the fate of those who wield it, but could upend the entire alchemic hierarchy. Drawn by the thrill of the quest and the hope of finally claiming the knowledge and power denied to him, Ash agrees. What begins as precarious partnership quickly deepens into bond rooted in mutual ambition, shared defiance, and something more tender, something that could be love. Their journey leads them far beyond the ivy-covered walls of Lancaster College and into the wild, unpredictable heart of New Anglia. Along the way, they encounter other rebels, ancient secrets, and alchemic wonders long thought lost. But they also discover that the closer they draw to the Book of Source, the more perilous their quest becomes. Powerful alchemists, including Ash's estranged and ruthless fight, will stop at nothing to keep the book hidden or to control it for their own ends. Ash is forced to reckon with painful truths about his family, his past, and the society he lives in. The more he learns, the more he questions what true power really means. Is it the ability to bend the world to one's will, or the courage to challenge injustice and redefine the rules? Ash navigates betrayals, revelations, and the ever-evolving complexity of his relationship with Ramsay. He begins to reshape not only his understanding of alchemy but of himself. Callender's world-building is immersive and dynamic, rooted in an alternate history that mirrors real-world systemic inequities while offering thrilling speculative twist. New Anglia is land of contrasts. Elite institutions brimming with magic and privilege, rural outposts where with of rebellion simmer, and enchanted wilds filled with creatures, mystery, and danger. Every setting teems with atmosphere and tension, adding urgency and wonder to Ash's quest. What truly sets Infinity Alchemist apart, however, is its heart. Callender, known for their nuanced exploration of identity and marginalization, brings the same emotional depth to this fantasy tale. Ash is a richly drawn protagonist, trans, queer, and fiercely resilient. His outsider status in the alchemic world mirrors broader themes of exclusion and resistance. Through him, the novel explores questions of who gets to access power, how institutions uphold inequality, and what it means to find belonging in a world that constantly tries to deny it. Ramsay Thorne is equally compelling, brilliant, sharp-tongued, and driven by her own burdens and secrets. Their slow-burning partnership evolves with tension and tenderness, reflecting both characters' growth. The supporting cast includes a vibrant array of queer, trans, and polyamorous characters of color, broadening the landscape of representation in fantasy and pushing the genre forward in meaningful ways. As the stakes rise and the pursuit of the Book of Source intensifies, Ash and Ramsay must grapple not only with external enemies but with their own fears and flaws. Loyalty is tested, power is redefined, and the bonds they form must weather the pressure of ambition, truth, and desire. By the novel's climax, Ash stands at crossroads, not just between the old world and new one, but between who he was forced to be and who he dares to become. Alchemist ends with hard-won revelations and the promise of more to come in the series. Deeper magic, greater danger, and the possibility of rewriting the very foundations of alchemy itself. In sum, Infinity Alchemist is bold, radiant, and revolutionary U-fantasy debut. Kacen Callender masterfully combines lush prose, sharp commentary, and unforgettable characters to deliver a story that is both an epic magical adventure and deeply personal journey. For fans of Legendborn, Deadly Education, and The Gilded Wolves, this novel expands the scope of what young adult fantasy can be. Intimate and political, romantic and radical, spellbinding and true. Themes: 1. Power, gatekeeping, and institutional control. One of the most compelling aspects of Infinity Alchemist is its examination of institutional power. Alchemy in New Anglia is not simply magical practice. It is a tightly controlled system of privilege, wealth, and elitism. The very act of learning magic is illegal for the working class, mirroring real-world educational and systemic inequities. Callender explores how power is hoarded by institutions, how access is deliberately restricted, and how that restriction becomes internalized. Ash's struggle isn't just about mastering magic, it's about breaking through system built to keep him out. This theme resonates particularly strongly in today's world and gives the novel its revolutionary edge. 2. Identity, self-discovery, and autonomy. Ash's journey is deeply personal. As trans teen, his identity is constantly policed by the world, by his father, and even by himself. His attempts to claim space in the alchemic world are also attempts to reclaim his sense of self-worth. Ash is not just seeking knowledge or power. He's seeking affirmation. Callender treats Ash's trans identity with thoughtfulness and authenticity. It is not sublet or side note. It's core part of who he is and how he navigates every relationship and conflict. Similarly, the inclusion of polyamorous and queer characters allows for broader conversations about love, intimacy, and chosen family. 3. Love and emotional vulnerability. The romantic tension between Ash and Ramsay is beautifully developed, never rushed, and always grounded in mutual growth. But Infinity Alchemist is just as much about platonic and familial love as it is romantic love. Ash's estranged relationship with his father, his longing for connection, and his ability to forge new bonds are as important as his quest for magical power. Callender excels at exploring emotional vulnerability, how fear, anger, hope, and desire shape every decision Ash makes. These emotional threads are what keep the story grounded, even when the stakes soar into the fantastical. Characters: Ash's compelling, richly drawn protagonist. He's fierce, flawed, and utterly human. His ambition often leads him into danger, but his resilience and empathy make him deeply sympathetic. Ash is not chosen one in the traditional sense. He earns everything through grit, defiance, and pain. His evolution from an outsider to someone who dares to reshape the world is breathtaking. Ramsay Thorne. Ramsay's fascinating foil to Ash. She comes from privilege, but her position within the system is precarious. Brilliant and caustic, she is driven by secrets of her own. Her character arc, grappling with inherited power, unlearning elitism, and vulnerability, is one of the most satisfying in the book. Her dynamic with Ash crackles with tension, wit, and unexpected tenderness. Supporting cast. The ensemble cast includes a range of diverse characters, including trans, queer, and polyamorous people of color. Each character, even those who appear briefly, feels fully realized. Some serve as allies, others as antagonists, but all reflect different facets of the central conflict. Who has access to power and who is denied it. Of particular note is Ash's father, whose role in the story is both personal and symbolic. His betrayal and complicity in the alchemic hierarchy represent the generational damage caused by internalized oppression. Worldbuilding, New Anglia, complex, layered world. Callender does not overload the reader with exposition, instead revealing the world's intricacies through action, dialogue, and Ash's discoveries. The setting blends academic elitism, political unrest, and fantastical elements in a way that feels both fresh and grounded. The alchemic system is intellectually intriguing, rooted in principles that mirror real-world science and philosophy. The concept of the Book of Source and the metaphysics behind it, depth and mystery to the narrative, inviting readers to ponder the ethical limits of knowledge and power. There's also a powerful sense of place. From the cold grandeur of Lancaster College to the dangerous wilds beyond the city, these settings reflect the themes of exclusion and exploration, with each location symbolizing step in Ash's internal journey. Writing style. Callender's prose is lyrical, emotionally resonant, and occasionally sharp-edged. There's poetic rhythm to their language, especially in moments of introspection or high emotional stakes. Dialogue is intelligent with keen sense of character voice. The writing style is accessible for teen readers but layered enough to satisfy adults. Action scenes are brisk and vivid, while quieter moments, conversations, realizations, betrayals, are given the emotional weight they deserve. The balance between plot momentum and character development is masterfully maintained. Perhaps most notably, Callender does not flinch from complexity. They allow characters to be wrong, relationships to be messy, and endings to be uncertain. This refusal to simplify is what makes Infinity Alchemist feel so alive. Representation and inclusivity. Callender has long been champion of representation in literature, and Infinity Alchemist is no exception. This is a story where trans, queer, and polyamorous characters of color are not only present. They're the heroes, the rebels, the thinkers, the lovers. Their identities are integral but never tokenized. What's especially important is how identity is woven into the themes of power and access. Ash isn't just marginalized because he's trans. He's marginalized because the entire system of alchemy is built to exclude people like him. The novel asks, who gets to be powerful in stories? Who gets to be magical, worthy, loved? The answer Infinity Alchemist gives is radical: everyone. Critique and considerations. For readers expecting tightly structured traditional fantasy, the philosophical and emotional detours of Infinity Alchemist may seem meandering. The pacing, especially in the middle third, slows down to explore character interiority. But this is not flaw. It's featured the emotional and thematic richness more than compensates. Similarly, readers unfamiliar with Callender's style may find the abstract metaphysical aspects of the especially surrounding the Book of Source, somewhat opaque, but those willing to sit with the ambiguity will find it immensely rewarding. Conclusion: Infinity Alchemist is more than a fantasy novel. It's manifesto for liberation, love letter to those who've been told they don't belong, and searing critique of institutions that gatekeep knowledge and magic alike, with unforgettable characters, incisive social commentary, and world that feels both mythic and real. Kacen Callender has launched series that promises to challenge, inspire, and enchant. It is not simply about breaking the rules, but rewriting them. For readers of Legendborn, The Gilded Wolves, for Deadly Education, Infinity Alchemist is must-read, but it also stands in class of its own, bold, unapologetic, and deeply magical in every sense of the word. Rating: 5 stars.